How to manage the Windows 10 desktop. Windows 10 has a group of functions to help you work with the desktop. Some of the functions worked in Windows 7, but only with the Arrow Desktop Themes feature. Arrow themes have been deleted from Windows 10, but the extra functions are still available. These are the functions described in this video. How to show or hide all desktop icons. How to change the size of all desktop icons with the mouse thumb wheel. Use the shake feature to hide windows. Use the thumbnail peek feature. Use the show desktop button to reveal the desktop. Use the task view button to show all open programs and folders. And how to create and use virtual desktops. To show or hide all the desktop icons temporarily, right-click the desktop, hover over View, and then check or uncheck Show Desktop Icons. If it's checked, they are being shown. If it's unchecked, they're being hidden. So let's uncheck it. All the icons have disappeared. To bring them back, just do the same thing again and click it again, and that will check it. Icons do not move when they're hidden and restored. To change the size of all desktop icons with the mouse wheel, click an empty spot on the desktop once with the left button. Hold down the Control key while slowly rotating the mouse thumb wheel up or down to increase or decrease the size of all desktop icons. What's happening is, if you rotate the thumb wheel to the top, the icons are enlarged. If you rotate them to the bottom, they're made smaller. You want to be careful with that, because if you make them too large, the screen will automatically rearrange, and there's no way to undo that change unless you simply drag each icon around to rearrange it. I like to have the icons fairly small, so a lot of them will fit on the desktop. The shake feature minimizes all open windows except the one you're working on to reduce clutter. I've opened several folders to demonstrate the shake feature. What you do is you press and hold the left mouse button on a title bar of the window you want to work on, and then you drag it left and right very quickly, horizontally left and right. Takes practice. When you do it properly, all the other windows will vanish, they will be minimized, and the only one left will be the one that you have just dragged left and right. So now you can work on this one and you're not distracted by the others. To restore them, repeat the process. Drag the title bar left and right quickly. As I said, it does take some practice. So if you want to make one folder visible and all the others hidden, shake it left and right. Here's how you can enable or disable that function. If you don't want that to happen when you're moving things around quickly, here's how you turn it off. I don't recommend you turn it off. I like to leave it on. It's hard to accidentally shake a folder. So what you do to disable the feature, in the search box, type gpedit.msc, press enter. Double-click the items to move down through the hierarchy. User configuration, administrative templates, desktop, and you're going to click this line that says turn off arrow shake window minimizing mouse gesture. Click it. Now you can click to edit it. Let's read this carefully. The option prevents the shake feature from working. I have the option disabled, so I'm not preventing it. If I enable the option, it will prevent the shake from working. So now if I click OK, it will enable the prevention and the shake will no longer work. Let's test it. Let's shake it. The shake feature is disabled, and as it says at the top, it turns off the arrow shake window. So let's change it back. As I said, I like to keep it on. It's pretty impossible to accidentally use it. So again, if you disable the prevention, it'll work. If you don't configure it, it'll work. I'll set it back to the original not configured, so you're not preventing the shake, and the shake will again work. Close it, verify it, now it works. It just made the other one disappear, minimize the other one. Does take practice. And now it's reappeared. So shake feature is now working. There's a thumbnail peek feature in Windows 10 that displays thumbnails of open windows as you hover over the icons. Not using any of these programs. I am recording this tutorial with this program. So there's the thumbnail for the program that's recording the tutorial. There's a WordPad document that's open. It turns out it's the script I'm reading to record the tutorial. And there's some folders that I have open from a previous part of the demo. They're all open, but they're all minimized. For the thumbnail peek feature, it displays a thumbnail for an open window, but it also displays thumbnails for windows that are minimized. It doesn't matter if they're open, whether they're minimized or not. It will still display the thumbnails. There's no simple way to disable the thumbnail peek feature, so I don't recommend you try that. The desktop preview, it hides all open windows on the desktop. So let's activate some of these windows. So now I got 3 windows open on the desktop. Now what the desktop preview does, it hides all the open windows to reveal all the icons. And what you do to temporarily preview it is to hover it over the Show Desktop button at the end of the taskbar. If that feature is turned on, it'll turn all the open windows transparent. It's not doing that, so that means that the hovering option is turned off at the moment, and I will show you how to turn it back on in a second. But the other feature is if you click the Show Desktop button, it will minimize all open windows. Click it again, they come back. Now again, it will turn them transparent if you hover, if you haven't turned the feature off, and I have turned it off, so I'll show you how to turn it back on. Right-click an empty spot on the taskbar, click Properties, check Use Peek to preview the desktop when you move your mouse to the Show Desktop button at the end of the taskbar. It's currently not checked, which means I have disabled that feature. I will check it, and I will apply it. So the window doesn't close, but it does apply that change. Now when I hover the cursor over the Show Desktop button at the end of the taskbar, everything that's open turns transparent, so you can see all the icons on the desktop. Moving it off, they come back. Hovering over it again takes a second or two, then they turn transparent, bring it off, and they hover there again. Okay, I don't like that feature because I accidentally activate it too many times. So again, what I do is I uncheck the box that says to use the peek. Then I'll go ahead and close the window and put it into effect. Now when I hover over the Show Desktop button, I don't accidentally hide all the windows on the screen. There's a new Task View button between the search box and the Quick Launch toolbar. And what it does, it reduces the size of all open windows so that they will fit on the desktop. And that includes windows that are minimized, because I had this one minimized. When you press it again, it restores them to the way they were. There's another feature called the Virtual Desktop that Windows 10 has. It lets you create multiple desktops for the same user and then move programs between the different desktops. I find the virtual desktops a little harder to use than multiple monitors. So I would suggest if you have a 2-monitor system, you probably won't bother to use the virtual desktops. But if you have a 1-monitor system, you may find it very useful to have a virtual second monitor. All the monitors will be called virtual monitors, and you can have as many as you want, and then you can switch back and forth between which one is being shown on your desktop at any given time. To open a virtual desktop, you click the Task View button right here. It shows that I currently have defined 3 virtual monitors from an earlier attempt at this demo. I'll go ahead and remove them. So when I click the Task View button, it doesn't show any extra virtual monitors, but there's a button to click to create one. Virtual desktop, I mean to say. So if I click this, it'll add a virtual display, a virtual desktop. So here's my original desktop, and it has all those folders on it. Now, when you hover over it, it previews what's there. If you right-click any one of the items being shown on desktop 1, you can transfer them to desktop 2. Here's how you do that. Hover over this one, right-click it, move to desktop 2. So now that one shows up here. If I preview desktop 2, which I do by hovering, it'll show that one, and if I preview this one, it shows all the others. So that's the way you move them back and forth. Again, you right-click over one here, and you say move to, and you say desktop 2. Now desktop 2 has those 2 folders in it. It has those 2 open windows in it. Desktop 1 has those open windows in it. Well, it has those 4 windows in it, but I believe only 2 of them are open at the moment. So if I select it by clicking it, okay, I'm back to desktop 2. There are 2 windows that are currently open. There are 2 that are currently minimized. So that's how you go back and forth. That's how you create new desktop, virtual desktops. Now, I believe I already said this, but just in case, the way you delete an extra desktop, and I don't want to really delete it right now, so I'm going to create another one first. The way you can delete an extra desktop that you don't need any longer is you click this X that appears when you hover over it in the task view for the virtual desktops. So click this. Now, if that desktop had anything in it, all those items would have transferred to the next desktop to the left. So if I close this one, everything will transfer back over to 1, and everything will be on the single desktop. Now everything's on the same desktop. I should point out that the Show Desktop button, which allows you to create your virtual desktops, or provides you an easy way to create your virtual desktops. The way to hide or show the Show Task View button is to right-click an empty spot on your taskbar and then check or uncheck this option that says Show Task View button. It is currently being shown. If I click it, it'll uncheck it. Now that button has disappeared. I can bring it back, right-click the taskbar, click it again, and now it's back. You don't need that button to create virtual desktops. There are some keyboard shortcuts you could use. So for keyboard shortcuts, there are 3 button sequences or 2 button sequences, and what you do is you press them in order and hold them down until you've pressed all of the 2 or 3, and then you let them all up. To open the task view with the shortcuts, press the Windows and the Tab key. So there's the task view. Now right now I don't have any virtual desktops, so I'll go ahead and I'll create one. So now there's 2. And the one you just added is the one selected and doesn't have anything on it. If I go back to desktop 1, it does have stuff on it. Okay, so there's the 2 desktops. Now, the keyboard shortcuts, we need to go back to this one because that's where my script is. You can move back and forth between virtual desktops by pressing Windows Control, press Windows, then press Control, hold them both down, then press the left or right arrows. So Windows, Control, right arrow. Switches to virtual desktop number 2. So back, there's virtual desktop number 1 again. If I wanted to close a virtual desktop, let's move back to virtual desktop number 2. If I want to close that virtual desktop, I press Windows Control F4. Now I closed virtual desktop 2, and there were only 2, so now I basically have no virtual desktops. There's just the 1 desktop. If I wanted to open a new virtual desktop, I can press Windows Control D, or the logo button, the Windows logo button, Control, and then press D. So that has created a new virtual desktop, and it has switched to that virtual desktop, and there's nothing on it. Now, if we want to look at the task view just to make sure what we're doing, there's the 2 virtual desktops. And again, you can close it several ways, but one way is to click this X. That's all the extra features for now. If I discover more features of Windows 10 that I need to add that refer to the desktop, I will update this video and incorporate those. That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, I have over 100 videos on my YouTube channel. Please click the red subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is free, and subscribers are notified when I add videos. To visit my channel page, just click Thomas Wallace or click my picture.